This is a nice map. Matter of fact, let me get to the one. This is the one I need right here. Let me go back to that one. Okay, that one more. Okay, now you can see if you go all the way to the right, you can see right there the pyramids. That's at the mouth of the Nile. You see the pyramid of Saqqara. The whole, the whole word is not there. But you see, the civilization started in the south. And as you can see, as you come up and go to the left, you're going up the river, meaning you're going towards the south. Okay, so when you're talking about, though the pyramids, see, those was tombs. But when you're talking about the heart of the civilization, where they worship, where their temples was, it was in the south. And many Egyptologists, they knew those facts that the Egyptians called the south of Africa the land of the gods and goddesses. The land of the god, that's where their gods and goddesses came from. Okay? And so, as you look here a little closer, all the way down to the left, you see right there, that's going into Nubia. You see Aswan, you see Elephantine, and that's one of the great cities of religious note, where pilgrims from all this, we're talking about it. We don't even really have to discuss no Christianity, no damn, because we talking about these temples are 2,000 and 3,000 years before the birth of the first European civilization, let alone some goddamn Jerusalem or some damn, you understand, or some damn Mecca. Mecca is an AD city. It's not even a BC city. You see what I'm saying? And really, Jerusalem is nothing more than an AD. You understand? All the most ancient relics probably on that land is Egyptian. And then you got the Romans came. And so, most of those cities that you read in the Bible, they are a construct of the Bible. Okay? And so we looking at Upper Egypt. See, that's very clear. You see Upper Egypt. Up means you going towards the south. You going up the river. You're going to the south. And so you see, this is where the university system of ancient Egypt, you see Thebes, you know what I'm saying, which is Luxor. That's the, and that's the great city of Amen. Okay, and so you had the greatest temple complex in the world. Before or since, ain't nothing ever been constructed on this planet on that level of Karnak. This is a temple city, university city. And so understanding that you had to go to the temple to get an education, okay? You had to go to the temple to get an education. And so and so you look at that great city, then you look over, and I'm gonna show you Abydos. I had to blow some of these maps up because they so small to a certain extent. See, here we go. Now, if you look at the bottom, you see Thebes and Luxor. Okay, and so you see that's 3 temples. But temples inside of temples. Now, when you go to Karnak, you understand when we at the bottom to the left, you see Karnak, you see Luxor. You understand what I'm saying? And so these are connecting temple complexes. You even got the Temple of Mu. Okay, and so in the New Kingdom, Amen and Mu were the greatest, and Khonsu, which is another Trinity. Okay, was the great Trinity of the New Kingdom. Okay, now when you talk about the Old Kingdom, the great Trinity of the Old Kingdom was Ptah, Sekhmet, and Nefertim. Okay, and then even when you go down to when you get down to Nubia, now when you go, you see right there, you see at the bottom, you see Aswan, and then right above that, you see the island of Philistine, Philistine Island. You know what I'm saying? And so that's named after the elephant. Elephantine Island. I mean, when I say Elephantine Island. Okay. And so it was a great temple complex on that island. And I was on that island. They done constructed, a lot of these temples have been destroyed to a certain, some temples look better than others. You understand what I'm saying? But the temple that was on Elephantine Island, it had to be reconstructed to a certain extent. When I was there, they was in the process of reconstructing it. And so I've seen that they've completed the reconstruction. Now, on that island, Elephantine Island, was the worship of Khnum. That was his seat. And everybody know Khnum, the ram god. And his wife, if I'm not mistaken, was Anubis. If I'm not mistaken, either his daughter or his wife. So you see, it was a trinity, and I'm gonna get to that as we move forward into the Trinity. So we understand that the worship of the great god Khnum was on Elephantine Island. And then right above that island, you see Philae Island, which was the worship of Isis, Set. And then all the way down at the top, if you go to the top on the left-hand side, you see Abu Simbel, which was the great temples that was constructed to the worship of Ramesses and his wife, Nefertari II. You see? And so what I'm telling you is that you see these temples, you have pilgrims. You know what I'm saying? The Nile Valley is in itself a spiritual land with temples to deities, far and wide. They're not even showing people many of the temples that still, it's hundreds of temples still standing to a certain extent. Now, like when you get to Philae, they usually stop you, so you won't go no further. You have to fly into Abu Simbel. So if you see Philae Island at the bottom in the left hand corner, you see there, and I'm gonna tighten that up so when I get ready to do it again, it'll be more visible. I'm gonna put some stars, some blinking stars on them areas so people can know exactly where. But it's not hard. If you look to the left hand at the bottom, you see Philae Island. And that's probably the last temple. It's maybe one more that they allow us to go to. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's Calabashia. And Calabashia, if you look up, that's two temples up. You see Dabat, and then you see Calabashia. And Calabashia was the worship of a Nubian god called Mendelawis. Okay, now in Nubian spirituality, Mendelawis was the older brother of Osiris. And so he had many of the attributes of Osiris. And you see these gods, they kind of co-opt each other. As you can see, Khnum being a ram god, and then you got Amen. Also the ram was sacred to Amen. You see what I'm saying? And so you can see that these gods co-opted, and you see Ra as the sun, but you also see Heru as the sun. You see what I'm saying? So Heru, so you see these gods have many of the same attributes, but depending on where you at on the Nile, you see, if you're in Nubia, or you could go up even different parts of Nubia. So Egypt was the land, when we talk about, there was no wars over differences of spirituality. See, that's another key, whereas you go into all these other religions and they cannot coexist with one another. The goddamn Protestants is warm with the fucking Catholics. The Mormons warm with the goddamn Protestants, and so on and so forth. They don't have, whereas you got so many differences of spiritual orientation, all African, and you got temples to all different forms of deities on the Nile coexisting at one time. And so that shows another the tolerant spirituality. And that's why you'll see so many other, deities got stories of how they come into Egypt, whether it's Jesus. Okay, he was, when, Herod was supposedly looking to, he knew of the so-called prophecy of the coming Messiah. And his so-called astrologer seen the signs in the sky. So he knew that, the Messiah was to be born at that particular time because of the star that was supposed to, predict his birth. It had risen in the sky. And so his astrologers told him, and so he didn't know who it was. So he said, kill all the children under a certain age. And when he, gave that decree, Mary and Joseph supposedly takes Jesus into Egypt. And it says, out of Egypt, I have called my son. And then even when you talk about Muhammad, when Muhammad was trying to put down Islam in Arabia, them Arabs weren't going for that shit. They had a whole nother religion, with so many gods. They had 360 gods in the Kaaba. And so, and that was to, you look, you understand, and you got pilgrims coming from all over Arabia. So you want to pacify these people by having an image of their God at the Kaaba. And so, from a standpoint of being a commercial center for the whole region, that was very smart. But Muhammad come with the one God, fuck everybody else deity. You understand what I'm saying? And they won because you fucking with these people money. If they could come in and see their gods as being venerated, they're going to continue to spend money with the city. But soon as you uproot their God like that, you understand what I'm saying? They're going to take that as a form of disrespect. So they looked at Muhammad as trying to fuck their money up. And so they ran his ass up out of there. You know what I'm saying? So he fled into Ethiopia. And so when he got to Ethiopia, it was some Arabs that was coming out of, they wanted his ass. So they was having relations with Ethiopia because, that was the powerhouse in the area. And so the Arabs had always had some form of economic relationship. So they had emissaries go to Ethiopia and ask for them to return Muhammad. And they say, and the king of Ethiopia, the niggas say, well, why should I return him? What has he done? And they said, well, he's promoting, a religion that is against, Christianity and so on and so forth. And they didn't give a fuck about Christianity. They were just trying to put him at odds with the Ethiopian people who were Christian. And so the nigga said, well, let me hear about your religion. And when he talked about his religion, he spoke highly of Jesus, even though he said that, we don't respect him as the Lord, the Son of God. We do venerate him as a prophet and all the other prophets. So the niggas say, ain't nothing, I don't see nothing wrong with what this man is practicing. And so we're not giving him up. You know what I'm saying? So there you see that Ethiopia was the incubator for Islam. Because if that king had returned Muhammad to them Arabs, they would have cut his motherfucking head off. So Ethiopia saved Islam according to their history. And that, that Jesus found refuge in Egypt when he could not find refuge in Israel, or what they call the Holy Land. So you can see here that, Africa has a high tolerance for other forms of spirituality. They don't get into no frivolous argument because they know that God is a manifestation of many, many forms. Okay, so let me move through here. Now, this is Karnak. Now, if you look, we just looked at, let me see, right there at the bottom, you see Karnak and Karnak. As you look, you see, now if you're looking at Thebes, Thebes is at the top of that temple complex. We're at the bottom on the left. You see Thebes at the top, you see Karnak at the bottom. Okay, now this is one temple complex. You got the worship of Amun at Karnak. You got his wife, Mu. You see how you know the veneration of the African goddess, and they don't like to bring Mu up because her temple complex is bigger than any damn complex of any male deity outside of Africa. You see what I'm saying? So you got your temple complex of Amun, and then you got right in the middle, you see the temple complex of Mu. I'm gonna put that in there. And then on the far end, you got Luxor, which is the temple where the priests were, you know, when they reached their final stages of initiation into the craft of Amun-Ra, they would go down. That's what you call the Grand Lodge. You understand? So Karnak is the university temple where the priests were educated. And when they reached the level of graduation, they would go down to Luxor to be raised as a priest. And that's where I was raised at, right there at Luxor. A lot of people hurt, and a lot of people don't know that. And I don't, you know, that I was raised in the craft of Amun-Ra, that I am a priest, okay? But I'm so vicious right now because I'm a warrior priest. You understand? People see the warrior, but, you know, I have to also tell people that I am a priest, that I was raised in the craft, okay? So when you come, this is the Karnak. This is the temple that's the veneration of Amun. And you see the rams there, and you also see Khnum being the ram god. You see what I'm saying? So you see that many of these gods have co-opted, you know, particular, venerations and different attributes. So one god may very well be the same god with a different name, you know, depending on where that, you know, you located on the Nile. You see what I'm saying? And so you see this is what it looks like today. And it's still, you know, of great, you know, it's still put together pretty good. And you talking about they started building this temple, you know, around, you know, 1500, you know, BCE. You know what I'm saying? It was always a spiritual city. You see what I'm saying? Most of these cities were already, but you're talking about, you know, Egypt had mastered architecture and sculpture. And so when they, you know, when it came the time of Egypt, they constructed on these sites, you know, these megalithic structures and these megalithic temples. But even in the earlier years, before architecture, these cities was already venerated as holy cities. So this is a replica of what it would have looked like. And so it's no competition. You know, when we say it ain't no goddamn competition. Because the fact is, you could go to Jerusalem right now and they can't find you one temple nor one tomb. That shit that they call the Wailing Wall, that ain't even the Temple of Solomon. That's the temple of a Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, who constructed that. So that's the Wailing Wall of their oppressor. And I don't even know why they go over there and act like it's so holy when that is actually the wall